The grand meeting hall of Station Alpha 7 sparkled like a jewel in space. Its crystal walls reflected the light of 3 nearby suns, creating rainbow patterns that would have amazed any human visitor. But Captain Tom Miller wasn't here to admire the view. He sat quietly at the end of the long silver table, watching as 12 alien representatives of the Galactic Council argued about Earth's petition to join their ranks. These humans, High Counselor Dax said, his blue scales shimmering as he spoke, they barely managed to reach light speed 30 years ago. Look at their ships. They still use visible thrusters. He laughed, and the sound echoed across the hall. Other council members joined in, their various forms of amusement creating an odd chorus. Miller kept his face neutral, though his hand tightened slightly on his chair's armrest. Next to him, his first officer, James West, maintained the same calm expression. They'd expected this reaction. After all, that's what Earth's leaders had planned for. Their main warship, continued Dax, pointing to a hologram of the EDF Thunder floating in the center of the table, still uses metal plating. Metal. Like some kind of primitive space boat. More laughter followed. The Thunder hung in the hologram, its dark gray hull marked with visible welding lines and what appeared to be patches of newer metal. 4 large engines stuck out from its rear, venting visible plasma, a sight that made several council members shake their heads in disgust. "We cannot possibly accept such a primitive species into the council," declared Representative Lux, her crystalline form glittering as she stood. "They would need at least another century of development to meet our minimum technology requirements." Miller glanced at his wrist display, noting the time. 3, 2, 1. The station's alarm system burst to life, its deep red warning lights flooding the hall. The council members jumped in surprise, their sophisticated neural implants flooding them with information. "Pirates," announced the station's eye. 3 heavy cruisers have dropped out of hyperspace. They are demanding immediate surrender and transfer of all valuables. The council members began talking all at once. Pirates had grown bold in recent years, taking advantage of the Empire's bureaucratic response protocols. By the time proper defensive authorization could be obtained, the pirates would usually be gone, along with whatever they had stolen. "Activate the station's shields," ordered Dax, trying to maintain his dignity. "Contact Imperial Defense Force. Request immediate assistance. The nearest Imperial fleet is 3 hours away at maximum speed," reported the AI. "Station shields are at 60% capacity and falling. Pirates are using new shield disruption technology." Miller stood up slowly, drawing everyone's attention. "The Thunder is ready to assist," he said simply. "With your permission, we can engage the pirates." The council members stared at him for a moment before breaking into more laughter, though this time it held an edge of hysteria. "Your primitive vessel?" asked Dax, his scales now a pale blue of stress. "Against 3 modern cruisers. You would be destroyed in seconds." "Perhaps," Miller said calmly, "but we are obligated to offer our help. Do we have permission to engage?" Dax waved his hand dismissively. Yes, if you wish to commit suicide, you have our permission. We will make note of your bravery in our records, assuming we survive." Miller nodded and touched his communication badge. "Thunder, this is Captain Miller. You have permission to engage. Show them what we can do." Through the crystal walls, they could see the Thunder coming about. Its seemingly crude engines flared to life, pushing it toward the pirate vessels. The council members watched, some already drafting condolence messages to Earth's government. None of them noticed the small smile that crossed Miller's face as he sat back down. None of them saw West check his own wrist display and nod slightly. And none of them had any idea what was about to happen next. The real first contact was about to begin. Through the crystal walls of Station Alpha 7, the council members watched the Thunder move toward the pirate ships. Its engines leaked visible plasma trails, making several aliens shake their heads in pity. The human ship looked like a child's toy compared to the sleek, black forms of the pirate cruisers. "Max, begin transformation sequence," Miller said quietly into his communicator. "Let's show them what humanity can really do." The Thunder's response started slowly, almost unnoticeably. First, the leaked plasma from its engines stopped, replaced by a soft blue glow. Then, the seemingly rough metal plates on its hull began to move. "What's happening to your ship?" Dax asked, his scales shifting to a lighter shade of blue in confusion. "Is it breaking apart?" Miller didn't answer. He didn't need to. The Thunder was answering for him. The crude metal plates split apart, revealing a layer of shimmering dark material underneath. The material flowed like liquid metal, spreading across the ship's surface. The visible welding lines disappeared, covered by what looked like scales made of pure darkness. "Impossible," whispered Representative Lux, her crystalline form vibrating in shock. That's nano armor, but it's more advanced than anything we have." The Thunder's transformation continued. Hidden weapon ports appeared along its sides, opening like flowers made of metal and energy. The 4 primitive engines reconfigured themselves, splitting into 12 smaller, more efficient thrusters that glowed with a cold white light. "Attention pirate vessels," Max's voice broadcasted on all frequencies. "This is the Earth Defense Force ship Thunder. You are ordered to power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." The pirates responded by opening fire. Streams of plasma and energy bolts shot toward the Thunder. The council members held their breath, expecting to see the human ship torn apart. Instead, the Thunder's nano armor rippled. The dark scales shifted and moved, creating angles that deflected the energy weapons harmlessly into space. Plasma bolts that did hit directly were absorbed, their energy dissipating across the hull like ripples in a pond. "They're using our own weapons against us," one of the pirate captains shouted over the open channel. "How do they know our technology?" "Oh, we know much more than that," Miller said calmly, standing up from his seat in the council chamber. "Max, show them what we've learned from studying their garbage." The Thunder's weapon ports lit up with a blue-white glow. But instead of firing energy weapons, they released clouds of what looked like metallic dust. The pirates laughed at first, until the dust cloud began to move with purpose. "Nanite swarms," gasped another council member. But those were banned centuries ago because no one could control them properly. The swarms surrounded the pirate ships, finding every tiny crack and seam in their hulls. Within seconds, the pirates' shields flickered and died as the nanites disrupted their power systems. Their engines sputtered and went dark. "How?" Dax demanded, turning to Miller. "Your species, you're supposed to be primitives. These technologies, they're beyond even our current capabilities." Miller smiled slightly. "Did you really think we spent the last 200 years just looking at the stars? We studied every piece of alien technology that fell to Earth. Every fragment from your battles near our solar system, every scrap of data we could gather, and we improved upon it all." The Thunder moved between the disabled pirate ships, its nanite swarms keeping them contained. Its true form now revealed, the ship looked nothing like the crude vessel from before. It was a perfect blend of human innovation and advanced alien technology, transformed into something entirely new. "This," Miller said, gesturing to his ship, "is humanity's real first step into the galaxy. Now shall we discuss our petition to join the Council again?" In the silence that followed, the Thunder's hull shimmered like black silk in starlight, a testament to humanity's hidden power. "Captain," Max's voice came through clearly in the council chamber. "The largest pirate vessel is attempting to restart its engines. They're trying to use their backup power systems." Miller nodded, turning to face the crystal walls. "Show them why that's a bad idea, Max." Tactical pattern ocean deep. The council members watched in confusion as the Thunder suddenly cut all its engines and seemed to drift. The largest pirate ship, its engines now glowing faintly, began to move. "Your ship has lost power," Dax asked, his scales now showing patches of worried gray. "Perhaps the advanced systems were too much for—" "Watch," Miller interrupted quietly. Humans learned warfare on seas of water before we reached the seas of stars. We learned that sometimes the deadliest predators appear to drift. The Thunder was now positioned below the pirate vessel, relative to the station's view. As the pirate ship rose, attempting to escape, the Thunder suddenly came to life. Its engines fired in perfect sequence, spinning the ship in a spiral pattern that no Imperial ship could match. The nanite swarms, still surrounding the pirate vessels, formed into floating mines. "Max, execute the net," Miller commanded. The nanite mines detonated simultaneously, but instead of explosions, they released waves of energy that formed a visible grid pattern in space. The pirate ship found itself trapped in a three-dimensional net of force fields. "Impossible," one of the council scientists exclaimed. "They're using quantum-locked energy fields as a tactical weapon. The power requirements alone should be beyond our capabilities." West spoke up for the first time, smiling. "Humanity has always been good at doing the impossible. Max, demonstrate our point defense systems." The remaining two pirate ships had managed to bring their backup weapons online. They fired a barrage of missiles toward the Thunder, likely hoping to overwhelm its defenses with sheer numbers. They failed. The Thunder's hull rippled again, but this time small ports opened along its entire length. Tiny dots of light shot out, moving faster than the Council's monitoring systems could track. Each dot intercepted a missile, detonating it safely away from the ship. "Quantum-guided interceptors," Miller explained. "Each one calculated its course using parallel universe calculations. There is no such thing as too many targets." The Thunder moved again, this time executing a maneuver that seemed to ignore the normal rules of space combat. It curved its path like a sea creature swimming through water, using its multiple engines to push against space itself in ways the Imperial ships never considered possible. "You fight like your ship is in an ocean," Lux observed, her crystalline form vibrating with interest. "We fight using everything we know," Miller replied. "Space is just another ocean. Deeper, darker, but still flowing with currents and tides. Max, finish this. Show them the spear." The Thunder's front section began to change. The NATO armor flowed forward, forming a sharp point that glowed with energy. Behind it, rings of light began to spin, creating a vortex effect. "This," Miller said proudly, "is something uniquely human. We call it the Space Pierce Drive." "Max." The Thunder shot forward, moving faster than any Imperial ship could achieve in normal space. It passed between the two free pirate ships, and as it did, space itself seemed to warp. The pirate ships' shields shattered, and their weapons went dead. "We pierced the space between spaces," Miller explained to the stunned council. "A fold in reality that lets us bypass any defense. The pirate ships are intact, but they won't be firing weapons again anytime soon." As if to prove his point, the Thunder emerged from its charge and spun gracefully, its nano armor rippling like waves in sunlight. Around it, three pirate ships floated helplessly, completely at its mercy. "Now then," Miller said, turning back to the council table. "I believe we were discussing humanity's readiness to join galactic society." In the silence that followed, even High Counselor Dax's scales had turned a pale shade of respectful blue. News of the Thunder's display spread through the Empire faster than light itself. In the Imperial Military Command Center, dozens of high-ranking officers gathered around a holographic replay of the battle. "Play it again," ordered Grand Admiral Pike, his tentacles twitching with worry. "Focus on their point defense system." The hologram showed the Thunder destroying incoming missiles with perfect accuracy. Each tiny interceptor moved with impossible precision, as if it knew where the missiles would be before they got there. "Sir," a young analyst spoke up, "we've confirmed that the Thunder isn't their only ship. Earth has an entire fleet." The room went silent. Pike's tentacles curled tightly around his command staff. "Show me," he ordered. New holograms appeared, showing orbital images of Earth. What had seemed like ordinary satellites and space stations now looked different to trained military eyes. Hidden weapons ports, disguised energy signatures, and carefully concealed power systems became obvious once they knew what to look for. "We've been blind," Pike whispered. "All this time, we thought they were learning how to walk in space. Instead, they were building an armor we couldn't see." At that moment, a priority message flashed across all screens. Admiral Reed of Earth's fleet was requesting an emergency communication channel. Pike straightened his uniform and nodded. The hologram changed to show Admiral Reed sitting calmly at his desk. Behind him, through a window, the Thunder could be seen returning to Earth orbit, its nano-armor still rippling like dark water. "Grand Admiral Pike," Reed said with a slight smile, "I believe we need to talk about the future of human-imperial relations." "How long?" Pike asked simply. "How long have you been hiding your true capabilities?" "Since our first detection of alien technology in our solar system, about 200 years ago," Reed replied. "While you fought your battles near our borders, thinking us too primitive to notice, we collected every piece of debris, every stray transmission, every scrap of data we could find." Pike's tentacles moved nervously. "But your ships, they're more advanced than ours in some ways." "How?" "Simple," Reed said. "We never stopped improving. Your empire has used the same basic technology for 1,000 years, confident in your superiority. Humans, we're never satisfied. Every piece of technology we found, we ask ourselves, how can we make this better?" The military analysts were frantically updating their reports. Earth's fleet wasn't just powerful, it was innovative in ways the Empire had forgotten was possible. "The Thunder," Pike said. "It wasn't just showing off, was it? You were sending us a message." Reed nodded. "The message is simple. Humanity is ready for its place in the galaxy. Not as your servants or students, but as equals, perhaps even as teachers in some areas." Pike looked at the reports piling up on his screens. The Thunder's performance had exposed dozens of weaknesses in Imperial military doctrine. Its adaptive nano-armor made their standard weapons look obsolete. Its space-pierce drive changed everything they thought they knew about space combat. "Your council representatives," Reed continued, "they're receiving similar briefings right now. The choice is yours. Fight against progress, or embrace it and grow stronger together." Pike was old enough to recognize when a new era was beginning. "I'll speak to the council," he said. "But tell me one thing, why hide your strength for so long?" Reed's smile widened slightly. "An old human saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. We wanted to be sure we could protect ourselves if the galaxy proved unfriendly. Now that we've made our point, we're ready to help the Empire remember how to innovate again." As the communication ended, Pike looked out at the worried faces of his staff. "Send word to all commands," he ordered. "The galaxy just got more interesting." Behind him, the hologram of the Thunder continued to play, its transformation from apparent primitive to advanced warship serving as a reminder. Never judge a species by its cover. The Imperial Science Academy was in chaos. Hundreds of the Empire's best minds gathered around multiple screens showing detailed scans of the Thunder. What they saw changed everything they thought they knew about human technological development. "Look at this," Professor Lin said, pointing to a magnified image of the Thunder's nano-armor. "The armor isn't just copying our technology, it's improving upon it in real time. During the battle, it was learning and adapting with each hit it took." The head of the Academy, Dr. Vale, stroked his long white beard thoughtfully. "Show me the debris field analysis from their old space programs." New images appeared, showing what appeared to be primitive human satellites and early space stations. But now, looking closer, the scientists could see the truth. Hidden beneath the crude exteriors were sophisticated sensor arrays and analysis systems. They were watching us, Vale realized. Every time our ships passed through their solar system, every battle we fought near their space, they were studying everything. A junior researcher rushed into the room, holding a data tablet. "Dr. Vale, we found something in the old records. 200 years ago, a major battle between Imperial forces and rebels took place just beyond Pluto's orbit. Afterward, several ships were reported missing. Not missing, Vale corrected, understanding dawning in his eyes. The humans salvaged them. Show me the Thunder's engine design again. The display changed to show the ship's propulsion system. Vale pointed to several key components. There, the basic design. It's from those lost ships. But they've modified it, improved it. Where our engines waste 40% of their energy, humans have achieved nearly perfect efficiency. Professor Lin pulled up another set of data. It's not just the engines. Look at their AI system. This, Max. It's unlike anything we've seen. They took our basic neural network designs and evolved them into something new. It's not just artificial intelligence. It's artificial wisdom. How did we miss this? Someone asked. Vale walked to the window, looking out at the stars. Because we stopped looking. The Empire has used the same technology for 1,000 years, making only minor improvements. We became comfortable. Humans, they never stopped questioning, never stopped trying to make things better. On the main screen, footage played of the Thunder transforming from its disguised state to its true form. The scientists watched as sections of the ship that had appeared to be crude repairs revealed themselves as advanced sensor arrays and weapon systems. Their whole technological development was a mask, Lin said. Even their early space flights, which seemed primitive to us, they were gathering data, testing theories. Every failure taught them something new. A message flashed across all screens. Captain Miller was requesting permission to dock at the Academy station. Vale straightened his robes and nodded. Let them come. It's time we learned the full truth. Minutes later, Miller walked into the research center, accompanied by Max's holographic form, a simple blue sphere that pulsed gently as it spoke. Your ship, Vale said. It's not just a warship, is it? It's a testing ground for new technologies. Miller smiled. Everything humans build is a testing ground. We're never satisfied with good enough. The Thunder looks the way it does because we're still improving it. Even now, its systems are evolving, learning from every interaction. Impossible, Lin whispered. Technology doesn't evolve on its own. Not in the Empire, Max replied, its sphere shifting colors slowly. But humans understood something you forgot. The best technology grows and adapts, just like life itself. The scientists stared at the eye's hologram, realizing that even this simple appearance was a choice, not a limitation. Humanity hadn't just caught up to Imperial technology. They'd taken it in entirely new directions. Vale looked at Miller with new respect. I believe, he said slowly, we have much to learn from each other. That, Miller replied, was the plan all along. The emergency session of the Galactic Council looked very different from the first meeting. Gone was the arrogance, replaced by genuine interest as Captain Miller stood at the center of the chamber. Above him, a hologram showed the Thunder's internal systems in detail. What you're seeing, Miller explained, isn't just weapons technology. The same principles that make our ships adaptive help us cure diseases, clean polluted planets, and create sustainable energy sources. High Counselor Dax, his scales now a humble shade of green, leaned forward. Show us. Miller nodded to Max, whose hologram expanded to fill the chamber. The council members found themselves surrounded by images of Earth's achievements. They saw hospitals where nanites similar to the Thunder's armor repaired damaged bodies. They watched as terraforming stations restored dead worlds to life, using the same energy manipulation technology that powered the Space Pierce drive. Impossible, whispered Representative Lux. You've mastered molecular reconstruction at this scale. Humanity learned early that the best technology serves many purposes, Miller replied. The nanites that make our ships strong also help us heal the sick. The energy fields we use in combat also power our cities. A new image appeared, Earth's solar system. What the Council had dismissed as primitive orbital installations were revealed as parts of a vast network. Solar panels that doubled as shields, research stations disguised as communication satellites, and defense platforms that also served as weather control systems. Your entire civilization, one council member said in awe, it's all connected. Every piece serving multiple functions, constantly improving itself. Yes, Miller said simply. We call it the integration principle. Everything we build must work together, must be capable of growth and change. No technology exists in isolation. The council chamber filled with murmurs as members discussed what they were seeing. Humanity hadn't just matched imperial technology. They'd reimagined it entirely. The medical applications alone, said the council's chief healer, her tentacles waving excitedly. Your nano-regeneration techniques could save billions of lives across the empire. And your energy distribution systems, added another member, they could end power shortages in the outer colonies overnight. Miller held up his hand, and the chamber quieted. That's why we're here. Earth is ready to share everything we've developed, but we want to be partners, not subjects. We want to work together to push the boundaries of what's possible. Max's hologram shifted, showing the thunder again, but this time revealing layers of systems the council hadn't even noticed before. Every day, the AI said, we discover new possibilities. Humans never stop asking, what if? They never accept that something can't be improved. High Counselor Dax stood, his scales shifting to the formal blue of official proceedings. Captain Miller, I owe you and humanity an apology. We judged you by appearances, never thinking to look deeper. We assumed that because your methods were different, they must be inferior. No apology needed, Miller replied. We chose to hide our true capabilities until we were sure we could defend ourselves. Now we're ready for something more important, helping the galaxy grow beyond what it is today. The council members looked at each other. Centuries of tradition and protocol said they should deliberate for days before making any decision. But the evidence before them was clear. Dax spoke again, this voice firm. I propose an immediate vote on Earth's petition to join the Council, not as a junior member, but as a full partner with special focus on technological innovation and development. The vote was unanimous. As the Council members crowded around Miller, eager to discuss possibilities for collaboration, Max projected one final image above them. The thunder, its nano-armor rippling with new patterns, already adapting and evolving even as they watched. The age of stagnation was over. The era of human innovation had begun. 1 month after Earth joined the Galactic Council, the thunder floated in high orbit around the Imperial capital. Its dark hull shimmered with new patterns. The nano-armor had evolved further, incorporating improvements suggested by the combined research of human and Imperial scientists. In the ship's observation deck, Captain Miller stood with Admiral Reed, watching ships from across the galaxy come and go. Among the sleek Imperial vessels, several Earth ships could be seen, no longer hiding their true nature. Their designs were different from both the Imperial standard and the Thunder's original appearance, each one unique, evolving in its own way. The Thunder's become quite a celebrity, Reed said, smiling as another tour group of Imperial citizens took pictures of the ship. Every child in the Empire wants to be the captain of a human vessel now. Miller nodded, watching Max's hologram interact with a group of Imperial scientists nearby. The AI was teaching them about adaptive systems, its simple sphere form occasionally shifting to demonstrate complex concepts. Speaking of ships, Miller said, should we show them the new one? Reed checked his display and nodded. It's time. Max, would you do the honors? The AI's hologram expanded, showing a massive construction facility in Earth orbit. Inside, a new ship was taking shape, larger than the Thunder, but with the same fluid grace. Its hull seemed to be made of pure darkness, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. The Star Weaver, Max announced proudly, the first ship built with full human Imperial cooperation. But this one isn't designed for war. The observation deck filled with Imperial officials and scientists as the presentation began. They watched in amazement as the Star Weaver's systems were revealed. Instead of weapon ports, it carried terraforming equipment that could restore life to dead planets. Its nano-armor could repair environmental damage on a planetary scale. The space-pierce drive was modified to create stable wormholes for peaceful exploration. Remarkable, High Counselor Dax said, his scales shimmering with excitement. You took weapons of war and turned them into tools of creation. That's what humans do, Reed explained. We adapt, we change, we find new ways to use what we have. The Star Weaver is just the beginning. Through the window, they could see the Thunder's hull rippling with new patterns. The ship was learning from the Star Weaver's design, its systems evolving even as they watched. But instead of keeping these improvements secret, the ship was openly sharing them with nearby Imperial vessels. We've received over 10,000 applications from Imperial citizens wanting to join human ship crews, Miller noted, and twice that many wanting to study at Earth's technology institutes. And how many humans want to study Imperial history and culture? Dax asked carefully. Reed smiled. Even more. We may have advanced technology, but your empire has 20,000 years of accumulated knowledge. Together, we can build something greater than either of us could alone. As if to emphasize his point, the Star Weaver's hologram showed its most impressive feature, a central chamber where human and Imperial scientists would work together, sharing ideas and pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The age of separation is over, Max announced. The Thunder showed the galaxy what humanity could do alone. The Star Weaver will show what we can all do together. Outside, the Thunder's nano-armor shifted one final time, forming a pattern that matched the Imperial symbol for unity. Around it, Imperial ships began adjusting their shield harmonics to create similar patterns, the first step in adopting human adaptive technology. A month ago, they thought we were primitives, Miller said quietly. Now we're teaching them to evolve. No, Reed corrected him. We're learning to evolve together. That's humanity's true place in the galaxy. Not conquerors, not subjects, but partners in progress. As the sun rose over the Imperial capital, its light caught the hulls of both human and Imperial ships, all of them starting to shimmer with the same adaptive patterns. The future had arrived, and it was more beautiful than anyone had imagined.